Good morning again to you. Blessings on you today.
Good morning.
Todd mentioned about talking about the candy cane over and over again. That's okay. There are some things we need to repeat often. And as we come to a time of celebrating Christ's birth, the messages are going to be about Christ's birth. And I read a story about preaching messages on Christ and His birth during the time of His birth. And the same can be said for Easter. And one of the mistakes that ministers make is they don't preach about it enough. And the other mistake they make is they preach about it too much. So there is a balance there, probably the right amount and too much. And the other thing was, you don't want to say the same thing every time, so you try to put something in new or thought-provoking, and they caution against trying to do that too much, because you get away far afield from the story. So one of the things I think is as important as anything is to read it over and over and over again. We become familiar with it, and we're like a little kid. Somebody's reading it, and we're just there with our eyes closed, nodding our head, because we know every word in our heart and our mind. But we need to pay attention to what it says and not let it become so familiar we start forgetting what it tells us, and we start remembering what we think it said and not what it really said. So today we're going to be reading about the birth, the announcement of the birth from Mary's perspective. And Luke is the gospel that tends to keep her perspective, and that is because he will be related to us as the Son of Man, a Jew, among the Jewish people, and the Jewishness of the family is reckoned through the mother. When we talk about Joseph next week, it'll be in Matthew. Matthew is talking about the King of the Jews. The kingliness of the kingly line is done through the fathers. So Matthew focuses on Joseph and then on the prophecies that were being fulfilled. And each one of the Gospels has a little different take. Not that they disagree with each other. And Matthew and Luke are really the only two that cover the birth in any kind of detail, Luke especially. Mark is Christ as a servant, and it starts out with him being baptized. Doesn't even mention the birth. And John, mentioning Christ as the Son of God, starts in the beginning. And really, in the beginning was the Word. This is not a new event. Christ was always in the beginning, and now the new event is the Word has become flesh and is dwelt among us. So each one of the Gospels reveals a little something different. So with all the Gospels, we have a complete picture. And so this is the part where you get to participate. Last Sunday, I'll ask a few of you, or you can volunteer. Last Sunday morning, with church, we'll narrow it down a little bit. Don't go all the way back to when you woke up. So last Sunday morning, started with Sunday school, till you went home, till you got in the car to go home, what happened? So I'll give you some time to think about that. So last Sunday, from the time you got here to the door, whichever door you came in, you went back there, till you left the door to go home, what happened? Are there any volunteers? These three guys over here look like they want volunteers. I hope it doesn't fall on me. That's that look. Teachers know that look from a distance. They can smell fear. Any volunteers?
We received a blessing. We received a blessing.
Okay, we received a blessing. Somebody else. What's the message about? That's always a scary one. I have to think about that one maybe. No. What songs did we sing? Do you remember any songs we sang? No? Okay.
Go tell it on the mountain.
Go tell it on the mountain, okay. What scripture was the message? What book? We'll start simple. Ephesians, okay, yeah. Chapter 4, verses something. Yeah, 22 to, yeah. Okay, anything else that you folks remember from last week? Did we eat anything? Yeah, we had dinner. We had gifts that we exchanged. So there's a bunch of stuff that we did, and all of us may not remember every little detail, But if we took everybody's account of what went on and put it together, we probably could get a picture of what happened last Sunday. And so in the Gospels, it's kind of the same way. There's independent witnesses, all inspired by God. When they pull the things together, they have a different focus, and they pull all of their focuses together. Dakota's going Navy into law enforcement, so he will have to get used to people coming up and there being an accident, and somebody giving a different story. We got the car hit by a deer, and I remember seeing the deer, and this would be my explanation. I saw the deer, I hit the brakes, and it hit us. And it rolled around, and I don't know what else happened, but my door won't open, so apparently it hit the door again. Talked to Lauren, I don't know. I was looking at my phone right then. We were both in the car, we both experienced it, but there's different explanations of what went on. Paula said, I remember you saying, oh, and I looked up just about the time there's a crunch. So each one of us was there, and we experienced it, but our recollections will be a little bit different. God had been silent in Israel for about 500 years, so he talked to Israel really from the time of Moses, because Israel was not a nation as such until the time of Moses. But he spoke through Moses, and he'd been speaking off and on in Israel, even during the time of Judges, until the time of Malachi. And he gave prophecies, and then there was no vision, there was no prophets, it was quiet. Israel didn't cease to exist. There's books that were written, uninspired books, but historical books of Israel from the time of their restitution as a nation up until the time of Christ. And when we get here, we see all kinds of activities starting back up again. Angels coming, dreams happening, things are starting to change. And so a attuned spiritual person would see these events happening and be woken up to go look and say, what does this mean? Did God warn us that these things would be happening? And some did this. We'll not just talk about Mary and Joseph, but we'll talk about Simeon and Anna, I think it is, and how they have been looking for the redemption of Israel. When the events start happening, I think they are more expectant of the events fulfilling themselves. So this morning we'll be in Luke chapter 1, verses 26 to 38, and we'll read about the angel Gabriel coming to Mary and announcing to her the events that are about to take place. And before I read this morning, we'll have a prayer. Our Father in heaven, thank you for today. Thank you for the love in Christ. And Father, thank you for being able to celebrate your birth here on earth. God became flesh and dwelt among us. Still God, still man, in a way that we can't fully comprehend with our human minds. But Father, you came to show that a perfect life could be lived in honor to the Father through Christ. We did not do it, but because one did live a perfect life, you provided yourself a sacrifice for our sins. Father, we can't thank you enough for the offering that you made on our behalf. Help us to have our lives changed by that relationship with Christ, so that we never meet someone we won't share the gospel with, that we can't share the gospel with, that we will leave and have not shared the gospel with them. Father, help us to share the gospel throughout all the world and throughout all of our acquaintances. We pray for our church, help it to grow, to be strengthened in you, to strengthen each other, be encouraged to be a light shining on a hill. I ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen. So in Luke chapter 1, it says in verse 26, and in the 6th month. So even right there, we have to pause a little bit and say the 6th month of what? Does this mean it's June? Does it mean it's whatever the 6th month in the Jewish calendar is? No, it doesn't mean those things. It means that in the first part of chapter 1, there's a man named Zacharias, who was a minister in the temple. An angel had appeared to him and said that his wife Elizabeth would have a son, and they were both old, and he was kind of, incredulous about this. He couldn't believe this was going to happen. And the angel said, well, because you won't believe, you're not going to speak until the child is born. And this, we know now, he may not have fully understood, but this is the precursor, the one who announces the coming of the Lord. This John the Baptist will be born. And so in the 6th month of Elizabeth's pregnancy, his wife, the angel Gabriel was sent from God into the city of Galilee named Nazareth. And in our devotion this morning before our Sunday school class, we read a little bit about what the Jewish world thought about Nazareth. Philip went and talked to Nathanael, and Nathanael came to Christ. And in the conversation, he said, "Can any good thing come out of Nazareth?" That was in John chapter 1 and about verse 46. Nathanael said to Philip, "Can any good thing come out of Nazareth?" That's like the hick town. That's the backwoods people. That's the folks like I was when I went to Columbus, Ohio, and everybody said, "Where are you from? Why do you talk that way?" And I got ridiculed into being able to be bilingual at that point. I could translate South, but I could also speak Cleveland. And so there was a perception. There was a guy that I worked with who was from Virginia. I didn't really work with him. He was the vice president. But people thought he was an idiot because he talked with a southern accent. How could he be smart and sound like that? Because people from the north, believe it or not, can be prejudiced, just like people from the south can be prejudiced. And so people were prejudiced against those in Galilee because it's just a common old hip working town and not really of any note. It was a common place. There was no wealthy particularly there. There was no sightseeing things you go see in Nazareth. It's just Nazareth. What's so special about Nazareth? It's very commonplace. It's not, there's nothing fancy about Nazareth. It's just a town in Galilee. But the angel was sent from God to the city of Galilee, a city of Galilee named Nazareth, to a virgin, espoused to a man, so very, very well engaged, different from what we would do today. Their espousal was a very strong commitment. I'm going to marry you. Will you marry me? Yes. There was some money changed hands. There's a promise that took place. There was wine that was drunk to confirm this. And then the husband-to-be would go make a place for the bride and would not really talk to her until the day that they were married. So there's not a lot of communication like we have now where, hey, I'm engaged, I have to go see him all the time and work out plans. They just didn't really talk to each other until the day that they were married. So she was espoused to a man whose name was Joseph, and we'll talk about him next week, of the house of David, and the virgin's name was Mary. Mary is a very common name, and you know that if you read through the Gospels, because when it talks about the women coming to the tomb, who came? Mentioned a couple of names, Mary, and Mary, and maybe, let's see, who's the daughter of Salome, or Salome, daughter of somebody. So Mary was a very common name. It was like Moses' sister's name. Miriam is Mary. So they had many people named Mary. It's a very common name, a common person, living in a common place, with a common name. And an angel comes and speaks to her. And the angel came in and to her. And we don't know how this happened. The angel could have just appeared right to her. So we're sitting here like this. The angel could have come in like right there and said, spoke to her. Or he could have come up to the door. Mary, does Mary live here? I need to talk to her. Talk to the parents, went in and talked with her. But however he got there, small town, Galilee is a small community, Nazareth, small town. If a guy came visiting, people would notice. So whether he just appeared and spoke to her, which is possible, or he came up to the door, walked through town, hey, where does Mary live? The community knows there's a man looking for Mary. And even if he's not publicly known, if Mary says, hey, there's a guy that came in, they know that there's a man who came from the Lord. Not from the Lord necessarily, but there's a man there. And an angel came in and to her, how we don't know, and said, Hail, or greetings, thou that art highly favored, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women. And we can say that this is a strange greeting because later it says, and when she saw him, she was troubled at his saying, or at his greeting, and cast her mind what manner of salutation this should be, or what kind of greeting is this? What was she troubled about? The man just appeared at the house or knocked at the door and came in and said, "Hi, he didn't say he was Gabriel, but you're highly favored of the Lord. The Lord's with thee, blessed art thou among women." That's what troubled her, his greeting, the thing that he said. So this common lady in a common place had an uncommon event. A person came looking for her and said, "You are highly favored. The Lord is with thee, blessed art thou among women." And this, if you look, I think, in your bulletin, it says something about the title of the lesson being highly favored. Is that what it says? I think I took it back there. Highly favored. This puts her in good company. Because it's like, wait a minute, this sounds a little familiar, and so I started looking, and other people have had someone, God or an angel, come to them and say, you're a favorite of the Lord. Anybody want to guess who the first one is? Noah. Noah found grace. Noah was favored by God. It's the same word. Hesed in the Old Testament. I forget what it is in the New Testament. But Noah was favored of God. Noah found grace. That was the first one mentioned. Another one, and that's, if you want to write it down, you can, Genesis 6:8. Another one was Joseph. Joseph grew in favor or in grace with God and with men. And that's in Genesis 39:21. Another person, Moses. Moses was highly favored of the Lord. And that's in Exodus 33:17 and 34:9. Samuel. Samuel was favored of the Lord. It mentions that in the Old Testament. 1 Samuel 2:62. An unlikely person. He's kind of a scared person. Fraidy cat. Gideon. He found favor with the Lord. He was highly favored of God in Judges 6:17. And then we get some folks we know really well after Gideon. I mean, we know Gideon pretty well, but David. David was favored of God. And then the last one I found, anyhow, in a quick search, is Daniel. In Daniel chapter 1, verse 9. Daniel was favored of God. So this common person in a common place has joined a very uncommon list of people that God has shown favor to. And when she saw him, she was troubled at his saying, What does this mean? And casting her mind what manner of salutation this should be. And the angel said to her, Fear not, or peace, or shalom, Mary, for you have found favor with God. So he repeats the message. You have found, you're highly favored of the Lord in verse 28, and in verse 30, you have found favor with God. Now let's think back through some of these folks who found favor with God. What happened when Noah found favor with God? He got a job, right? What was he supposed to do? Build an ark. How long did it take him to build it? About 100 years. Does that sound like favor? Hey, got a job for you to do. In your spare time, I want you to build this boat. Sounds like work, doesn't it? What about Joseph? What happened when Joseph found favor? He was cast in prison. His brothers tried to kill him. He never got to go back in his lifetime to the homeland that he grew up in. But he was favored of God. Moses, what happened when Moses was favored of God? Oh my goodness, you gave me 2 million.
He built the ark.
Yeah, Noah built the ark, didn't he? Moses, it's like, you gave me 2 million of the biggest whiners in the whole wide world. They're not my people, they're your people. And why did you have me have to walk these folks through the desert for 40 years? He gave his last 40 years of his life to service to the Lord. Samuel is probably one of them that has one of the kinder lives. He found favor with God and had to tell Eli, his mentor, God's going to kill your sons. Eli died. He had to lead. He was the last judge. He was one of the prophets of Israel. But he had a job. He had work. Gideon, he was highly favored. He had to go out and do something. Hey, Gideon, highly favored of the Lord. Take the army and go out and get the Amalekites, I think it was. He said, how many do you have? I have this many. He said, that's too many. And God just kept paring it down so there were like, hundreds of people against thousands of people. And God did conquer the enemy through Gideon. And David is like Israel's high point, maybe Solomon. But David was highly favored of God as well. He was anointed king, and then what did he get to do? Wander around in caves for several years while Saul tried to kill him. Saul would bring him back, and he'd play a little music for him, and then Saul would get a javelin and try to run it through and stick him to the wall, and he would escape. So he had a life of fleeing before his enemies for many, many years, being separated from family. And Daniel was taken out of Israel. He was highly favored of the Lord. He never got to go back home again. But probably, and this is speculation, but probably the reason the wise men came is because of Daniel's writings he left in Babylon that people found and realized that the Messiah was coming. So a favored life with the Lord may be a life that's very difficult. Mary, the community very likely found out that a man had come and visited Mary, and in 3 months they realized that Mary is pregnant. This is what we're going to talk about with Joseph. And Joseph's like, what should I do? We'll find out next week what he did, but her reputation is soiled at this point because Joseph knows it's not him. There's this man that's come to Nazareth that nobody really knew who he was, and now Mary's expecting. So her early life, her early married life, was one of question. Her reputation soiled. And we'll find out when she talks to Simeon. Simeon says, this baby is set for the rise and fall of nations, and your heart will be pierced through. So being favored of God doesn't mean I'm going to go home and there's going to be a brand new favorite car, Lincoln or Cadillac, parked in my driveway. My house payment's going to be taken care of. I'm going to have a dozen kids and babysitters for each one of them. I'm going to never have to work again a day in my life. That's not necessarily God's favor. When we're favored of God, it may mean a life dedicated to a lot of hard work, to a lot of ridicule, to a lot of trouble and trial. And the angel said to her, fear not, Mary, for you have found favor with God. And behold, you shall conceive in thy womb, and bring forth a son, and shall call his name Jesus. And we talked about Mary's name being common. Well, Mary's son's name is common. Yeshua, Jesus. It was Joshua, essentially we call it Joshua today. Not uncommon for a child to be named that, because that's a great hero in Israel's life. But even though this common person in a common place is going to have a somewhat common event happen, and that's giving birth, although she's a virgin, which is completely uncommon for that to happen, impossible for that to happen without God's intervention, though this person is going to have a son with a common name, and he's going to be an uncommon person. In verse 32 it says, he shall be great, which is not impossible, and he shall be called the Son of the Highest. That's uncommon. And the Lord God shall give unto him the throne of his father David. So this common person in a common place, having a somewhat common event happen, and that's birth, although again, very uncommon because we'll find out she's not married, she's betrothed, never has had relationships with a man. But this person is born to her will be uncommon in that he will be the Son of the Highest. He will be the Son of God, and God will give to him the throne of his father, his predecessor, his forefather, David. And he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever. He shall reign over the house of Israel forever. And of his kingdom there shall be no end. So this common person in common place has had an uncommon message delivered to her that she is favored of God, and that she will, as a virgin, conceive and bring forth the Son of God, the Son of the highest, who will rule over all of Israel, and of his kingdom there will be no end. And Mary said to the angel, how shall this be, seeing that I know not a man? She was young, but she understood that, babies come by the interaction of a man and a woman, male and female. And the angel said to her, the Holy Ghost shall come upon thee, and the power of the highest shall overshadow thee. Therefore also the holy thing which shall be born of thee shall be called the Son of God. And as I'm reading this, as I'm studying for this message this time, I see the whole Trinity is there. The Holy Ghost will come upon you, the power of the highest, the power of God will overshadow thee, and you will conceive the Son of God. The Father, Son, and Spirit is all involved in this message and in this outcome that Mary is going to experience. And behold, thy cousin Elizabeth, she has also conceived a son in her old age. For this is the 6th month with her, and that's how we see that the 6th month is significant, who was called barren. For with God, nothing shall be impossible. So Elizabeth and Zacharias, they had no children. They were past childbearing years, but they were having a son because with God, nothing will be impossible. And Mary, though she has not had a sexual relationship with anybody, she is a virgin, and it's impossible for her to conceive physically other than that way. God is saying that he's going to do this because nothing is impossible with God. You are highly favored of the Lord. He has sent his Son to die for your sins. And by testimony, I think most of you have accepted Christ as Savior, so that the favor that he shows his Son is the favor with which he is showing you today. And I'd like to say that favor is going to bring you all kinds of physical blessings, like I talked about, the car, the house, the airplane. Maybe you've always wanted an airplane, and if you have God's favor, he'll give you the airplane. No. He might, but probably no. But he does say this, many are the afflictions of the righteous. Wait a minute, you said I found favor with you, and then the other thing you say is, I'm going to have a lot of afflictions? That doesn't sound very favored. That's not the end of the verse. But the Lord delivers him out of them all. Maybe not until the day we die. We might be afflicted for the service of the Lord in his favor until the day that we die. And if married, I think she was a good Jewish girl. And so she knew the story of the forefathers and how that Noah spent 100 years building an ark for the saving of his family and for the whole earth. There would be no animals left had Noah not obeyed God and gone out and done the work. Now God made it easy for him because the animals came kind of on their own. God brought them there. But he had to have provision for them. It wasn't just building the ark. And I'll put it in our terms today, it's baling hay and growing corn and carrying those into the ark and storing them up and water. How much does a 5-gallon bucket of water weigh? Yeah.
Pretty heavy.
It's pretty heavy. Just so you remember, pints a pound rolled around. Remember that. So there's 8 pints in a gallon, right? So every gallon's 8 pounds, give or take. And 5 times that is 43 gallons. How much does an elephant drink a day? A lot.
A lot.
I think 100 gallons. So to take care of elephants for about a year, he's got to put a little bit of water on there too. So he was busy getting everything ready. And he was highly favored of God. And Mary was thinking about Moses. Moses, there's hardly, if you ask a Jewish person who's the great folks, well, they may not mention Noah because Abraham's not been born yet, but they're going to say Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and they're going to say Moses. Moses is going to be in there because he wrote the first 5 books of the Bible. David will be in there, and maybe some of the prophets. So Moses, every good Jewish person knew about Moses, and when he was highly favored of God, it was just work. And so when she has been highly favored of God, and God says what's going to happen, she would be very apt to say, well, wait a minute. I know what your favor looks like. It's a lot of work, and I don't think I want that. Go find some other virgin in Nazareth. I'm sure there's others out there. But she didn't say that. And as God shows us favor, we need to be like her in her response. And Mary said, look, behold, the handmaid or servant of the Lord. Be it unto me according to thy word. And the angel departed. Be it unto me according to thy word. Who came and talked to her? Gabriel. Whose message was Gabriel bringing? God's. God has come to you today and said you are highly favored of Him. He has given His Son on our behalf, and He has called us to serve Him. What will be our response? God, I've seen what your servants have to go through. Your prophets, I mean, you tell me, is that a good job? Making them run around naked or cook food on cow poo and stuff? That does not sound like what I signed up for. Unfortunately, some people believe and don't know that that's what God's calling them to, and they turn away, and whether they were saved or not, they never show back up again. But for us today, we have an opportunity, as God has called us, and as God is calling us every day, there is an answer that we can give. And what is that answer? Be it unto me according to thy word. She turned over the reins of her life, the control of her life, to God and said, I will do whatever you ask me to do. How many of you, answer this honestly, how many of you really in your heart want to say, I will do whatever you ask me to do? How many of you want to say, I will do whatever you want me to do? Where we have a disconnect, where we are and where we'd like to be. So this morning, as we stand and as musicians come up, you, highly favored of the Lord, are we willing to say, be it to me, I will do, according to your word, whatever you say. Please stand. 300.